We wanted to create a space where we could have meaningful conversation, provide insight, and connect with listeners on a deeper level. So we brainstormed ideas and the podcast was born, Let's Sip and Chat. Welcome, friends. You are listening to Let's Sip and Chat, where we talk and laugh about relatable and often unexpected real life.
And this is your host, Jacky.
And your host, Anay.
And I'm Leala, and together we're your trio of hosts on this podcasting adventure.
That's good to know.
But what about, let's talk about being Mexican American. I feel like that is, a whole topic in itself.
That really is.
Not just being Mexican American, but not looking the part, I guess you would say.
Uh-huh.
There's expectations for it, because I never get, oh, you're Mexican, or I get, oh yeah, I can see that when you're talking. Apparently there's an accent. I don't hear it, but
There is.
but
But it's okay. You speak to
They
it,
can
I guess.
tell we're
Yeah.
not from Mexico if you go to Mexico.
That part.
Even though you speak Spanish,
yeah,
but you still have an accent that we can't listen. I mean, we can't hear it, but they do.
It's interesting, huh?
I feel like when they say,
Crazy.
oh, you're Mexican American, it's kind of like you want to agree with it, but then, you go to your family's house and they tell you that you're not Mexican enough.
Yep.
And then you hang out with your friends and then they tell you you're not American enough. And it just feels like,
Where do I belong?
yeah, like you don't even know where you belong. Literally.
Where do I belong? I don't belong in Mexico. I don't belong in America. Where do I belong?
I don't look the part. Sometimes I'm like,
But then
what
you
does the
could
part
also
look
be
like?
Mexican, and then you could also be like you like a lot of American stuff,
Yeah.
like American food too.
We're just people.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Yeah, but growing up, being light skinned, Mexican American, just going to my cousin's house and they always tease me about how light I was. And the fact that I have colored eyes, I remember them. And I had wearing glasses. It was just like a punching bag of just jokes. I remember that they would say, ojos de canica, marble eyes. That's what they used to call me. And then when I was little, glasses weren't like a thing back then, like how they are now. Like
Yeah.
glasses back then
Like
were
an
like
accessory.
yeah, literally. People didn't want to wear glasses back then. And I used to wear these big old glasses when I was a kid. And I would just get teased. 4 eyes and, the most cruel teasing happened at your cousin's house when you were around all of them.
With family.
Yeah, so just imagine you look white, so you don't fit in. And then you wear glasses, and no one else wears glasses. And then your eyes are colored, and you're the only one with colored eyes.
When I first met you, I didn't think you were Mexican.
Yeah, see, I get that all the
Until
time.
you started speaking Spanish, and I'm like, what? You're Mexican?
Yay!
I get that all the time. I've even gotten Russian.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
Russian.
interesting.
I could see it.
I'm like, Russian?
I
Really?
could see it.
I think it's because also being Mexican is like a melting pot of different races and stuff,
Right.
because we have French influence and
Yeah.
my side of the family, I know for sure. My grandma, same thing, she was fairly fair skinned, and a lot of people she only spoke Spanish, and a lot of people thought that she was American, and
Yep.
I mean, yes, American, 'cause she was born and raised in Texas,
Yeah.
but she looked like a white woman, and
Yep.
she didn't even speak English.
Me and Grandma, we relate.
Yeah, but I think it's because there's a lot of the French influence.
Yeah. I know
for sure.
on my mom's side, my
Spaniards.
grandma said
Spaniards, exactly.
that they came from France, so I know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
I've always wondered where exactly I am from. If
Have
I
you
did
guys done the what is it
The
called?
ancestry?
The ancestry or the
No, I'm a nervous to.
I want to do that.
I want to do it.
to
I just
really
haven't.
dive deep in that.
But then I'm like, where do you guys keep all my the stuff I sent in, right?
Where does
you
that go?
you hear all these conspiracy theories, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want
They
to.
have your DNA.
Yeah, but then I mean,
Don't take my DNA.
Big Brother already knows what you do, so it's like,
Yeah. I mean, nothing's really a secret. Right?
literally nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, think about you'll say, hey, I want to look at this outdoor camping stove, and then all of a sudden it pops up on your Google.
You're just
You didn't
bombarded.
even
You don't
look it up.
Or you don't even have to say anything. You're just thinking about it.
Right.
And it pops up.
Exactly.
That's happened to me a lot
Oh
of
my
times.
gosh, it's not just thinking about it.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. The thinking about it part.
Yeah. And that's what creeps me out.
Yeah, they already know.
Like they're in your brain. They know
They
what
probably
you're
already
thinking about.
chipped
They
you.
know what you're gonna do.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
How was it for you guys growing up Mexican American?
It was interesting. Because especially like my family, like my grandma and grandpa spoke Spanish, so we understood Spanish. But my dad didn't teach us Spanish. So we had all of the Mexican influence.
Yeah.
And like we live Mexican, and then there wasn't the actual language. So it's so confusing to like be a part of a culture and live culturally without the language. And like it kind of messed me up. But I like took it upon myself to learn, so I do know some Spanish. But I think there's like this stigma around like not saying it perfectly, so then you don't want to say it. And I think the same thing with people that come here that have like a general idea of what English is, and they're again too afraid to say it.
Right.
So like I can have conversations with people like, oh, let me say it in like English and you understand. You say it back in Spanish and I understand, or you understand. You know, vice versa.
Right.
So yeah, it's just weird.
So how was it like growing up around? I don't know if you have other family that does speak Spanish, and then how was it growing up and then you not being able to speak it?
Well, like for instance, going to family reunion. We went to a family reunion in Mexico because our family's in Mexico and they don't speak any English. And we're here speaking no Spanish, but we're trying to connect somehow.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely hard. It's
And you know, they give you a hard time. Like if you're Mexican and you don't know Spanish, they give you a hard time for it.
I got corrected a bunch of times. Especially at my old job, I got corrected. And it was, and I'm not scared to speak Spanish. I'll just say it however I'll speak it. But yeah, it's kind of rude when they laugh at you and they're like, oh, that's not how you say it. It's this way, you know? And it's like, okay, well, I tried. So.
Yeah. Because you do speak 2 languages.
I do.
Yeah.
Spanish was my first language.
Me too.
So I didn't know English. English was my second language.
You know, right now that you said that, I do remember growing up and I got put in a straight English school, and I didn't know not one word in English, and it was a struggle. So I understand people that are out there that don't speak the language. I understand, but then now I'm like, well, now I know English, but then now I don't fit in because I don't speak Spanish good enough or English well enough, you know. So
same here.
And I'm 4th generation. Like the Spanish and the culture is kind of getting watered down and lost.
Yeah.
Because it's 4th generation, that's a lot. And so again, it's so hard to like navigate between the two, but you just do it.
I get it now after like having kids, because at first I was like, how come, like, or with Dom, I'd be like, how come they didn't teach us Spanish? Like they know Spanish, why aren't they teaching you Spanish? But now that I'm a mom and English is our main it's what we speak in the house, so we're not speaking Spanish. Well, I try to, but it's
doesn't
not
always work out, huh?
So now I get it, because it's my daughter Isa was getting confused in the beginning, and I felt like if I just spoke to her one language, she would get it faster. So I started talking to her in English, and she was a little delayed in speaking. That's why. So I thought it was just having 2 languages. She was getting confused.
Yeah.
But I think that just speaking to her in English helped her start talking.
I did the same thing, because I mean, we speak English in the house, but because my mom lives with us, there's Spanish going on, so that's what helps my son, you know, with the whole Spanish. But his primary language is more English, and then I have to kind of like remind myself, oh, speak Spanish to him. So we're doing like both, you know, and sometimes I don't know if it's hard for him, or it's just that it's easier for me to just speak English, you know? Because, I mean, English becomes your main language.
It does.
Okay, can we talk about, like, a staple piece in every Mexican-American home?
And what's that?
Novelas.
Novelas.
Like, I grew up on novelas. Remember, like, running to the couch, 7 o'clock, and from, like, 7 to 10, you watched all the novelas.
All the novelas.
You didn't break away from them.
Yeah.
That was, like, the go-to before.
The 7 o'clock novelas were always the best, though.
Yeah.
Versus the later ones, I thought. I always thought the later ones were like for like parents, because the 7 o'clock were always like, they had like the Rebelde, I remember that song called, or I don't know if you guys remember Soñadoras or Amigas y Rivales.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those always being at 7. So I was like, oh, it's for the kids. They were not for the kids, but that's what I thought.
That's funny.
It's funny how a lot of the novelas we thought they were like Betty la Fea. That was like my favorite because I thought it was comedy, so it's for the kids. But
it's not.
I rewatched it and I'm like, this is not for the kids. Like the kids should not be watching this.
Or Ruby.
Ruby, I didn't like it. She was so evil.
I love Ruby.
No, she was so evil.
She was evil. She was
Like,
evil.
how can you be that evil?
But I love Ruby, and I like how they remade a novela. In what is it called? Teresa.
So Teresa was just a remake of Ruby?
It's similar to it.
Oh.
It has a little. It's pretty much the same story. She's poor. She wants to be rich. She's all about money. Doesn't care about love. And
I think that's why I never watched it, because I didn't like Ruby. I just felt like it was so evil.
I like Ruby, but I kind of like Teresa more now.
I just remember watching El Chavo del Ocho. Right? Like, that could be more for the kids.
No, you know,
Kinda.
Yeah.
what was the other one? It was like all the class. It was a classroom. And it was all the teachers and the kids. It was kind of like Chavo del Ocho. La escuelita de Jorge something.
I don't remember.
No?
I don't remember
Oh,
that.
well, I thought it was for the kids because it was funny, but no, those
I
are
don't remember.
all the stuff they were saying was so dirty.
Oh my gosh, all the time, huh?
All the time. Their comedies are.
No, yeah, it's crazy.
But what about Selena? Let's talk about Selena. Like,
Selena.
growing up in the 90s, I feel like, you know, the movie came out. She's Mexican American. We can relate.
Right.
I love Selena. That was like we watched it
Over and over and
million
over and
times.
over. Exactly.
and cried at the end all the time.
Every time. I didn't even watch the end. I'm like, I'm good.
My
Because it's
favorite.
going to make me
I
sad.
remember my cousins would come over and then my dad would put the movie on for us
Uh-huh.
and we would all be in my mom's room crying and my dad would be like, what's going on? And we'd be all just crying because of, and it was the end, you know how she's like raising her hand in the
Uh-huh.
end? So we would just be crying to all that.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part was when the cholos drive by and they're like, "It's Selena."
Uh-huh.
They're like, "It's Selena." But
That's
and the
crazy.
bumper part,
Mhm.
that was my favorite part.
You know they still have that bumper?
They do.
Really?
Yeah, I think I seen it on Instagram and they posted it. They still have it.
I
They
wonder
have-
how it would be if she was still alive.
Oh,
I
for
don't-
sure.
Yeah. But you know, they always say that when someone passes away, like, it makes them more famous.
It is.
So,
Yeah.
like, I don't know how it would be, really.
Yeah.
You never know.
I think she probably would have been big.
I think
Or
so,
like
too.
a legend, obviously, because she was not just a singer. She was a
She was a
The
fashion
designer, yeah.
Yeah,
and
with the
she was a
boosties.
business.
She had
you
a
know,
lot
like-
of, like, dreams
Mhm.
and ideas.
and I'm sure she. Oh, and she
She
was
would've
starting
made
to
them work.
act too before she passed.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I didn't
really?
know
She
that.
was in a novela.
She was?
Yeah.
Really?
Novela.
I
gotta
forgot
look
the
this
name
up
of it.
now.
Let
Yeah.
me see.
Yeah. Look
I-
it up. I didn't know that. I thought she just
She
did.
was in a novela. It was let's see.
I just remember.
I know Bronco. Remember Bronco?
Yeah.
They were in the novela too.
Really?
And she was like,
Bronco was all my mom. Like that's what she.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But when we went to that concert, that was funny. The Selena
that was fun. I'll look
tribute.
it up later.
Yeah.
I
It was almost like it was almost like you're living.
Look, it's Selena.
Exactly, even though we know it's
like-
not, you know.
you were living out a childhood dream.
Exactly, that
That
Because
was
we
fun.
never went to a Selena concert.
No.
She passed away what? 94?
95.
95?
On my birthday, March 31st.
What? I was like what, like 3 years old? Yeah. Never had. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. How do I remember all this?
I know.
At 3?
I thought I was a fan. She's a fan. For sure.
I just remember it always being. It was like Sábado Gigante came on, and then Selena would come on. Like always. That's what I remember. Like being at my aunt's house and us just being all over there. It was always.
So
that
that's a
playing
wrap.
on the TV.
Stay tuned for next week's episode where we'll be chatting about our common likes. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review if you've liked what you heard. Your feedback keeps us going. And make sure to follow us on all your favorite social media platforms to stay updated on all things Let's Sip and Chat.